Hey, it's your boy Nick from Ghost Frickin' Talkin'. I would like to take this moment out to let you know that the following podcast you're about to listen to has some sound quality issues. We were live on location for this podcast, and on top of having to wear face masks where you're going to be muffled anyway, it seemed to have some microphone issues. I apologize for the issues, and hopefully you still enjoy this awesome podcast from Ghost Frickin' Talkin' live at Wolf Hollow. Enjoy.
There are some things in this world that go way beyond human understanding. Things that cannot be explained. Things that most people don't want to know about. That is where we come.
Do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is? It's fear.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid!
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
It's all true. The boogeyman is real, and you found him.
And there's no more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
I see dead people.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
They're here.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ghost Frickin' Talkin'. That is right, Ghost Frickin' Talkin', your paranormal podcast like no other. We are coming to you live today from Wolf Hollow, really cool oddity gift shop here in Rockford, Illinois. This is our 4th edition here. We love our friends here, Elizabeth and Randy here at Wolf Hollow here in Rockford, Illinois. If you guys are in the Rockford area, you guys can always stop by, and we'd love to see you guys. Today is my 40th birthday.
Happy birthday!
So you know, this is kind of my birthday party here today. Is hanging out with a bunch of cool people with a bunch of cool spooky stories. But I do have special guests here today, and it's actually an honor for me to have you on the show because. When anybody says anything paranormal Rockford, it's always Kathy. You know, Kathy's like the godfather of everything spooky that's in Rockford, Illinois. All right, so I'm going to introduce is Kathy Kressel.
Hello.
Kressel. All right. We've talked about you in other podcasts before, and I think I might have called you Crystal or Kressel or all right, so I'll just call you Kathy.
Okay,
that
works.
So Kathy is a well-established writer here in Rockford. She publishes all the awesome, creepy, spooky ghost stories here in Rockford. So if you guys have seen a couple of titles of your books are
Murder and Mayhem in Rockford, Illinois. It's not ghosts, but murders, obviously. And then Haunted Rockford, Illinois.
Very cool. All right, and like I said, if there's any kind of paranormal like talk that's going on, like I said, you're always hosting things at different places around town. You know, because I try to keep track of everything that's been going on, and everything is Kathy this. So I'm like, when they said that Kathy was going to be on my show, I'm like, whoa, I think I made it here in the paranormal world here in Rockford.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
My first experience with you, you were doing both of you guys. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce you. We got Sarah B, right?
That's right. Yep.
All right, Sarah B. And Sarah B, you're not a writer. You're like, now, are you an empath or a medium? What do you consider yourself?
We like to joke around that I'm an insensitive sensitive. But yeah, pretty much. I've been empathic my whole life, but it graduated into mediumship. So I guess if graduation is possible, but that's how it happened. So. Started here, grew here. I don't know.
Very cool. We've talked about like empaths and stuff like that on this podcast before, and I am no offense to you, I am a huge skeptic in that kind of, you know, people are always like, why are you so skeptic on this stuff? Because, you know, I live in a haunted house. You know, I've seen things, I've been touched by things, this and that. And they're like, well, if that can happen, how do you think that, you know, why do you think that somebody couldn't actually physically see this on like a normal level, right? So when you see do you see things? Are you more of a feeling thing? Yeah.
For me, it comes a couple of different ways, right? So a lot of times, predominantly, it will start off kind of as unknowing. I'll know something is there. I could tell you whether it was male or female. I'll start getting details that way. But I can see them in that third eye, I guess, if you will, like kind of like right in the center of your forehead. If you were to close your eyes and I started saying, you know, picture the top of your dresser, right? You could picture the items there, and it comes very fast. So it's a lot like that. On less often occurrences, I'll see them three-dimensionally, as if they're standing in front of me, or near me.
All right. So when you see them, do you see them as being like physical form, or is it kind of like a translucent form? You know, I'm picturing like Ghost. The movie Ghost. You know, is it kind of translucent, or is it?
You know what? It's. I've seen them as shadows. I've seen shadow figures. I've seen them as kind of just a undulating sort of non-shape. You know, they're just kind of there, a presence, if you will. I've seen them as a three-dimensional. Kathy and I both actually saw one over at Tinker Swiss as a three-dimensional person passing through a doorway, which three-dimensional people can't do. But you know, so it's really kind of how they, I guess, show themselves.
Okay.
And as far as being skeptic, we're both very skeptical. I've been doing this business for 16 years, and we have met some people that have claimed to be one thing and totally ended up being something entirely different. Sarah is the third or fourth psychic that I've actually worked with in my tours and stuff. And we managed to stay together a lot longer than the other ones. And especially today with all of the shows and stuff, there are a lot of people that claim to be one thing, or you know, they see this or they see that, and they're just looking for the next big TV show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You turn on, is it Discovery or Travel Channel? It's like Travel Channel is like
that's their market.
Yeah, it's might as well just rename it to the Paranormal Channel instead of Travel Channel.
Sure. Absolutely, because there's almost no I mean, they travel around. I guess that qualifies, right?
Let's be honest, with cell phones, you know, if people driving around, they think they're paranormal investigators, and really they're just a person with a phone that are driving through something that somebody else has researched.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we try to do. We want you to have that experience, you know, to go to the places that we visited, and we've been really fortunate to get inside to a lot of places.
But we also want people to be skeptical, too. I mean, because there's kind of this, some people are all in. They don't care. You could tell them the most outlandish story, not, you know, I mean, just off-the-wall thing, and they're all in. They absolutely buy it. And then you've got the other spectrum that no matter what you tell them or what you show them or what, I mean, Bigfoot himself could walk across their front lawn and they still aren't going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
But I think most people fall into that, maybe I'll believe it if I see it range, right?
Yeah. And that's where I fall in. Because, like I said, you know, I've experienced things, but someone will send me something in like an email or something, being like, oh, you know, I think this is a ghost, and I will pick it apart like no other. My first thing is to try to disclaim it more than approve it, you know, because I'm not just going to be like, hey, you know, this is you know a legitimate haunting or something like that, you know. And it's just that skeptical mind of mine. And I get bashed all the time for it. They're like, well, why do you have a paranormal podcast? I'm like, because I'm trying to teach other people, you know, what to look for, or, you know, bring in awesome guests like you guys with the different thoughts and different ways of putting together this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't think that means, I think you can be skeptical, like we said, but it's really, the stories are where we start, and since we've been doing this in Rockford, there's not a huge tourist, you know, group here. You know, we don't get a lot of different people coming in to see things here in Rockford, except for sports. So we had to really look for the stories, and I usually find the stories and then I take Sarah out to validate them. So I don't even believe it. You'll notice I don't write. Sometimes when you're looking for a story that you've heard in Rockford, maybe I haven't written about it yet. It's because I have no either historical proof or Sarah hasn't picked anything up there. And so it's more of a legend than an actual haunting.
Very cool.
So that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
Validate the stories and make sure that, we're finding the truth behind them.
Yeah. Going back to the first time I talked to you guys. You guys don't remember me, but I remember you.
I think I do, though, because I think I remember you were telling us about your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your son's house, too.
Yeah.
We don't, we have just a handful of people that trust us with their child under, 15, really.
I don't know why you do that.
I work with kids in my day job. It scares the heck out of
I
people.
have 2 children of my own, and I don't know what I'm doing.
The first time I saw one of your guys' presentations was down at the Veterans Memorial.
Sure.
And I had never been in that building myself.
It's incredible.
And, I don't consider myself a medium or anything like that. I just get a feeling. And when I walked right into the vestibule area of that place, it just hit you, in the face like a million bricks. Absolutely. And then, so then we went in and was listening to your guys' stuff, and you guys were talking about how, how haunted this place actually is. And I had never known that place had that kind of history to it.
It took them a while to, it took Veterans Memorial Hall. That, a lot of the museums back when I started this were afraid to be known as a haunted place. They didn't want that, whatever their connotation about them. And so it's really taken us a long time. And I think that the history part the research that I've done too in the places helps them see that we're not just out to, scare people and use the scare tactic kind of thing. We're really out to tell the story of the entities that might be there. And so now I think that's allowed us to, as we built our reputation here, it's helped us to find a lot more of the museum type of places to help with another kind of revenue, like Veterans Memorial Hall and like Tinker Swiss Cottage.
No,
we
definitely.
Have the executive director of Tinker Swiss Cottage with us today. She is a part of the Haunted Rockford crew. It's Sam Hockman. So hello, Sam. Hi.
All right. So that's all right. That's where I might have known her from.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I actually did a tour, and I had my camera because I was vlogging the paranormal tour one year, and I got actually some pretty good stuff, through that paranormal tour.
Absolutely, yes. It's definitely one of the most. It's not necessarily the most haunted, but they like to show up a lot more than some of the other places, and you're not gonna be disappointed if you want to have a true experience, because we can't always guarantee that. We can't make the ghosts perform. They're not puppies.
Oh yeah, and we preach that on the show too, because everyone's like, well, I went to Waverly Hills and I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, these spirits aren't on
like
show for
fishing.
you. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't always guarantee you're going to get something, but at Tinker, we have more times than not had some kind of experience. I think that the Tinker family really appreciates the people, and they understand that they trust Sam and they trust us now. Sometimes they like to play with Sarah a little bit, but
I like to give them nicknames.
Yes, it's almost like we have personal relationships with some of the ghosts that we talk about mostly. But the Tinker Swiss Cottage is one that it always comes through for us.
Yeah. Like I said, I had a major experience there. I forget the gentleman's name. It was an older gentleman. He was kind of leading the tour that day. For the life of me, can't remember his name.
Steve?
Steve's not older.
No. This guy was an older. He was a kind of taller gentleman with glasses, gray hair.
Dave, probably.
Definitely not Steve.
What's that?
Dave or Terry. Let's just throw out all the names.
Yeah. Well, that one guy. Well, at the end of the night, they turned off all the lights, and he ran a phasma box, or a form of the phasma box. and something came across the Phasma box, and it said, what was her name? There's a spirit ghost that constantly shows up at her house, and her name comes across all the time, and I am drawing a blank right now. But it said that it said her name, but it goes, let's say Zoe isn't here. It's at Brickheads. Push the red button. Our original YouTube channel, which is still going today, we are called the Brickhead Family, and we call ourselves the Brickheads. Okay. And it's a YouTube channel, and if you look at the YouTube channel, it's called the play button, and it's a red button.
Sure.
So it said the name of the spirit wasn't at the Tinker Swiss, it's at the Brickheads. So push the red button.
That makes sense then. Wow.
And I didn't get it while standing there. Lexi, that's the name of the spirit. It said Lexi isn't here. It's at Brickheads. Push the red button. And it wasn't until I was reviewing the tape that this came across. And I was just sitting there reviewing it. I'm like, holy cow! Did this spirit at Tinker Swiss realize that we must have a spirit that's attached? But just letting us know that spirit wasn't there, that it was at our Brickhead channel. And we've posted videos of where we're live streaming, and we have reactions to something that's happening. We had like a doppelganger thing to where both me and my son were streaming, just talking to people in the stream, and we thought we saw my other son show up at the kitchen into the refrigerator, and he was all the way across the house, so he wasn't even there.
There's been a lot of times that we're kind of oblivious, well, especially me, to what's going on around me, and especially because when we're on a tour, and whether it's a bus tour or walking tour or whatever, because we do it all. So one night we were downtown, and we hit, when we go the first time, Sarah doesn't know where we're going. I go through, I find the stories, I find the places to tell the stories, and I go there, and I don't consider myself psychic at all, but I get enough of a feeling to tell, ooh, there's something here. Mm-hmm. But I rely on Sarah to tell me what it is. So on this particular tour, first night out, we were downtown, and I was telling the story of a little boy who actually was hit by a train on the train trestle that crosses the river. And unfortunately later, fishermen pulled him out of the water. So we were standing there, and mind you, the bus holds, 56 people? So we had like 50 people with us, and we're standing there in a group. And we had moved away from the lighting. Now, this is where the new Embassy Suites is built now downtown. Mm-hmm. But at that time, it was a old, abandoned building, basically. And they had some street lights there along the sidewalk, but it was pretty dark. And so we were standing there, and I was going on. I'm facing the crowd, and Sarah wanders around,
I wander.
She wanders, trying to pick up her ghostly friends. And so she's wandering around, and I'm kind of, I try to keep an eye on where she's at, but I'm facing the crowd and telling the story. And all of a sudden, I feel Sarah next to me, and she says, "We got to go." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I thought she meant we need to move under where the light is at, because I thought, because it's Rockford on the weekend, and it's later in the evening, so maybe we had some people that were approaching us, live people, mind you, that maybe weren't the best people for us to hang out with. And so Sarah was letting me know, hey, we need to move under the light. So we moved. I kind of moved the crowd as I'm talking. I think it's back up under the light. So we did that. So, and I pretended like I could see my notes. So we're, because you got to keep up the appearance, right?
Right.
So we're doing that, and then Sarah she's sticking right next to me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "No, we need to leave." And I'm like, "Leave? What are you talking about?" She goes, "We need to get back on the bus, like now." And I'm like, "What is happening?" And she said, "Go, just go." And I always make a joke about, in the beginning of our tours, like, if you see the psychic running for the bus, don't ask questions, just go.
Yeah, get the hell out of Dodge, right?
But it had never happened before. And it did that night. And it was, I'm too busy watching, Sarah's practically at the bus before the rest of the group starts moving. Right. I'm just like, she's knocking down old people. No.
Like, I don't have to outrun the ghost. I just have to outrun them.
Yeah, it's gonna be faster than the slowest person behind me.
Absolutely.
It's like outrunning a bear. I have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to maintain some calm and get the people onto the bus without hurting anybody. And then we get on the bus, and then she tells us what she saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't, like, tell you why you're running. While you are running, you're just like, okay, well, if the psychic's running, we should just get out of here, right?
And I'm like, what the heck was that all about, you know? And then she tells me what she had experienced, and like I said, at first I just thought maybe it wasn't the safest place for us to be, but no, she had a story behind that, so I let her tell her version of what she was seeing.
Okay.
So, it's one of those instances where I was seeing them externally, right? That we talked about three-dimensionally and you know, in your mind's eye and whatnot. But this time they were on what I was seeing was shadows on the hillside. And how they would present themselves, it was almost like an animal. So they didn't take an animal shape, but the grass was tall on the hill. And then they would pop up like 2 at a time, some of them 3 at a time. And at first, the first couple popped up, and you kind of looked, and I was like, what is that? And I wasn't very alarmed. You kind of get that hinky feeling, but I'm like you. I remain skeptical. I'm like, you know, it could just be that we're in a undesirable location, right? Like, let's not just leap into this is definitely paranormal.
Yeah.
Right?
I give you guys credit for even being down there at that time.
She goes alone. Kathy goes and doesn't tell anyone.
Oh,
she goes,
wow.
Right?
I go
This
a
is
lot
how
of
you wind
places
up in
Wow,
hell,
you got cojones on you, like,
Yeah,
no
no.
way. I won't even do that.
Right?
I'm a really good guardian angel.
I check out. I go down here and I check it out by myself. And does John know? Does anybody know where you
He's
are?
my significant. John is my no. John doesn't know.
Yeah, you don't leave a note or a text saying, well, I'm going to this undesirable place. If you don't hear back from me in like a half hour,
I might be in the
send
river.
help.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how it started. They started by popping up on the hillside. And then they started to flank us, and they started to come around to the other side, and they were really kind of encircling us. They couldn't come from behind because the river's back there, but then they started to move down the hill, and they just weren't taking a human shape. They weren't really taking any shape, so it was almost like smoke kind of objects. Does that even make sense? Like smoke objects. It's like an oxymoron. What does it even mean?
Right.
But that's what I was seeing. They were just kind of like this, you know, changing, shifting form as they kind of moved down the hill, and they would move together like animals, like a pack of wolves.
Oh, wow.
Almost like they're
they were
driving us.
hunting you, yeah.
Yes, they wanted us to move into a location, I think, and then who knows what would happen.
Yeah, push you off the cliff into the river, right?
Right, we're going in. Everybody's going for a swim.
Which was the plan I had started when I first go down and okay, we're going to start telling the story here, but then we're going to move over here where it's a little darker, and it's going to get a creepier. Well, little did I know. Yes, that was the plan, and we would have been right where we shouldn't have been.
And I don't know what would have happened if we moved into that
and I don't
space,
need
but
to know
no, exactly. Like I didn't want to stand there and taunt it. I was far enough away from the group. I was kind of in the section between the group and these entities, right? And the feeling that I got, I don't scare very easy, believe it or not. I don't scare very. I got the jump factor like everybody else. I'll jump if something surprises me. I'm definitely going to startle, but I won't run away.
She's usually trying to analyze.
Yeah.
She's busy analyzing, okay, what are you trying to tell me here? What is the story? What do you got to say to
But
us?
it was so predatory. It really felt, all of a sudden I felt like an animal being hunted. That's what I felt like, and I just couldn't shake it. And as they got closer and moving down the hill and kind of wolf packing, I guess, if you will, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe we shouldn't be here anymore. And I could see some of the guests must have felt something similar too, because some of them had left the group and headed back to the bus just on their own. They started heading back.
Like, this is not for
And it
us.
was like, what, maybe 2-3 people, they started walking back, but then I walked over to Kathy, and I, like she said, I was like, I don't think we can be here anymore. We need to go. I don't know what's happening, but we need to go. And I didn't want to scare everybody, so then it's like a stampede to the bus, right? You say the wrong thing, and then everybody's like free for all, elbows to the neck, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So we went back in a pretty orderly fashion, quickly, chip chop chip, you know. And we got back on the bus, and that's when I told them what I was seeing, and it was amazing to me because so many people, all of a sudden their hands shot up in the air, and they were like, I felt something too. I felt very uncomfortable. I felt threatened. And it was just kind of this wave through the bus.
And when we usually share the stories of what happened in a location, what you'll have is no matter how scary we tell it, people are always going, and where was that? And they'll run right over to that area.
They run right into
this. They did not.
They did not.
They trusted.
It was such a shared experience, though, that they were feeling. They didn't see anything, but they all felt something, or the majority. I can't say all.
I think most of them felt.
But a lot of them did. The hands went up in the air and they said, "I felt this too," or "I felt threatened," or "I thought we were being."
Yeah, that's that well ingrained stuff from back when you were in the ice age, where you had predators all around you. So that's
your
survival instincts just kick in.
Gives you that chill, like if you go to the zoo and you hear a lion roar, like instantly you're kind of like, what is that? Oh my gosh! You feel like a rabbit all of a sudden, or how I imagine a rabbit feels.
And when I choose the stories, I want some of that, not to the level that we had at that night, and then the rest of the
that was a little extra.
Yeah, the rest of we go to the same places when we do the fall tours on the bus. We go to the same places each week, and we did not get off of the bus. After that, we just kind of told the story and then added the benefit of the story of what had actually happened, our actual experience, because. Though we try to have experiences in these places, I don't need to have one like that again.
Although weirdly, like you said, when we did the bus, people wanted to get off, and they wanted to go check it out. Remember, they wanted
the ones that were not there the first night.
Yes. So when we stopped getting off the bus in that location, then sometimes people would say, well, we tell them the story, what had happened on that first tour, and they say, well, could we go down there? Could we go look? And we didn't, but if you want to go down, just spend like 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then
watch
back.
For you,
yeah, we'll watch for you. If you're not back in 5, we're out of here. So.
It might be a little bit different experience now because they've cleaned up the area.
Yeah, this was years ago.
Yeah, and we had an experience. There used to be a tunnel that went through. There's a viaduct there where the train used to pass. You went under the bridge. But there was still a cement wall, brick wall there. And it had a tunnel going through it so people could pass through there. And because of my research into the Prohibition time period and stuff, we knew that was a bad tunnel. It was used for...
And that's where the shadows were. They weren't in the tunnel. They were on the hill because it goes obviously under the hill. They're on that hill.
So when you say bad things happen, are we talking people were getting whacked down there?
Some people during the Prohibition time were whacked.
Oh, no!
There also...
Wait a second.
There also had been, in the early 1900s, there had, because the train had gone there was a serial killer that came through Rockford, and he had lured young boys under there, and one of them, the guys who were working on the railroad had seen this young boy wandering off with this man, and they heard him yelling, and they ran over to help him. Unfortunately, one of the other boys, after that experience, he didn't take them in that tunnel anymore. He led him somewhere else, and he did murder that young.
That sucks.
Yeah. And it was really bad. He was 7 years old at the time. So when I say bad things, I mean really bad things, dark stuff.
I apologize for my girlfriend was dropping off some stuff here, but she is actually my co-host for the show. This is you want to come here for a second? This is Newsroom Nessie.
I love it. Newsroom Nessie.
Hi. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Me and my son, we added her to the show early last year, probably about a year almost now.
Yeah.
But we added her to the show. And we didn't have a spot because it's just usually me and my son at the front. Sure. So we hooked up a second camera, and we call her Newsroom Nessie because she's in the newsroom. so I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is my son.
Hi.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's okay. It's important.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing us.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I biffed it out, forgot my charger for my computer. Otherwise, we would have been stranded here.
Sarah and I used to work with a group, a paranormal investigation group, and it was a bunch of guys your age and a lot younger than me, and it was always me that they called. I had to make sure they had all their stuff. So
yeah. She even texted me right before I left. She goes, "You got everything?" I'm like, "Yes, I got everything." I'm like, "You don't think I got this?" And sure enough, I open up this box and I'm like, shit. I think I just forgot like the major lifelines to this computer, right?
Well, thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's like that on any investigation, too. Anytime you go to an investigation, you are invariably going to leave some key piece of something at home. Right. Batteries, something. You're like, oh, come on.
And especially nowadays, I'm lucky if I leave the house with my pants and my teeth,
Yeah, right? Now you got to worry about a mask now, right?
Yeah,
oh, gosh. It's like one more thing.
Yeah, I was walking into Menards the other day. I was like, I look back, I'm like, crap. And I had to walk back to my car to get my mask.
So I work in my day job. I work at the Rockford Public Library, and, we hadn't had people in, but it's a public place, so I wear this like 10 hours a day, and it just becomes another part of your face.
Right.
Now it's not, do my shoes match my outfit? It's like, does my mask match my outfit?
Right. Going back to the place downtown,
yes.
Now there is that beautiful hotel that's down there now. Have you heard if there's been any activity in the hotel? Has anyone come to you about down there?
We haven't had a lot of people staying there because COVID happened. Right shortly after.
Yeah, I think it finished.
And during COVID. So I don't think it's had the traffic but normally we would probably hear, because I can tell you, usually not this year, but usually in a regular year, I get phone calls all the time. People come to see me. I work in a public place.
Yeah.
So much like you, they'll bring me pictures of a piece of toast and say, "Do you see my Aunt Bessie's face?
Do you see Aunt?
Is this a sign?
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a sign
from
the gods. Exactly.
It's a sign for gluten.
So I get that a lot, and I love that. That's a lot of where our stories come from. That personal connection. Sometimes I have to say, I think that's just a piece of toast, but there are many, many times, and I cannot stress how kind the people in Rockford have been to me, because when I started this many years ago, there wasn't a look on it. There wasn't tours here.
If anyone brought up like paranormal stuff, they're like, "Well, you're just crazy and you're seeing things."
And
absolutely,
I got
especially here
because you do get the reputation like you're a little off.
Oh yeah, I know it. I know it.
I embrace the off.
Right, exactly.
And we have been able to. I mean, this will be our 17th year now of hosting things here, and it's.
Oh wow.
Last year was tough, but we're looking forward to opening our doors back up and heading out on our ghostly trails.
Yeah. Right? So have you been back down there since then?
I have, yes.
Of course she has. Of course she has, alone in the dark, not telling anybody.
Well, see, when you do these things, again, I have the story, but I need to know that they're going to have an experience, and I need to be down there at the time. So if I think the tour is going to be there at 9:00, I need to see how the lighting is. Are people going to trip over stuff? So I'm down there.
Is there a bumbling on the ground somewhere?
Yes.
Exactly.
If something does happen to you, I will put you on the tour.
Yes.
This is the spot, the Crystal.
Yeah. Remember Kathy?
Yep.
This was her area right there.
And there have been times that I try out a place and I'm like, I take Sarah back, and we've decided together that that's not what we want to do for the tour, because as I started, investigating and following these stories, a lot of them are murders. Where murders have occurred. I go in, I check out these places. Some of them are unsolved, and some of them are frequent or early enough or contemporary enough. And they're unsolved, and I've actually been at a couple places, and I've had an experience, and it's just like, this is not safe. It's not safe for me to be here, and I have to leave. And so you have to be aware of where you're going.
Yeah.
And it can be very, very frightening. And I had probably the most scariest one I had happened not too long ago. I was writing an unsolved murder that happened in 1986, and the woman had been, unfortunately, killed and dismembered, and they found parts of her in the stream back in the fields of this place. And so I went back there, and as I was driving, I just felt like I got scared, more frightened as I went, and I'm just like, this is weird. Why am I feeling this?
Right.
And as I got close to the point where you turned off and went down into the wooded area by the stream where they found her head, a car passed me, and the license plate was a vanity plate that had her last name on it.
Oh, wow. That
Weird.
We've done a few episodes now on signs.
Yep.
Just on our newest episode, we were talking about it. How there's signs everywhere, and you just got to keep your eyes open for that. And that was definitely a sign.
And it set my spider sense is going, and so I got down into this little bridge that the stream passed under, and I usually take a bouquet of flowers to put on their spots, and so I had the bouquet, and I got out and I was going to drop it in the water where they found her head, and I heard a woman's voice say, "You need to leave, and you need to leave right now." And I felt like maybe it was this woman warning me that this is not safe.
You just had that sign of the car,
and I got back and I shared that with my significant other, John, and he's like, you know what you did different on this one that you hadn't done before? The story that I wrote about this woman's murder had already been published. And then I went back to the place because there were several places. Normally, I go before I publish the story, and he said that maybe that person knew that you knew about where she was located, and people had forgotten about this woman.
Right.
Because she wasn't like socially high up on the social scale of Rockford. She was kind of like a little bit lower. Maybe people care about her, but it's forgotten sometimes, and they can't solve it. So she's forgotten about, and so I just need to be a little more careful. But definitely. Usually I can get Sarah to go with me, but Sarah's been kind of busy this year. She had a baby, so she hasn't been available like she normally is.
Thank you.
And believe it or not, it's really hard to start a conversation and ask somebody to, hey, do you want to go where they found this head?
Yeah, right.
I'm
all about it. I'd be like, let's go.
Kathy knows,
road trip.
like, so we're gonna go look for a head. and I love it.
Sarah's usually okay. Sarah's like right there. Sam would probably be right there too. But.
So you say that you've been to different places where murders have happened.
Absolutely.
I was down some tunnel, YouTube tunnel one day, and I got onto Rockford and murders that happened in Rockford. Have you ever been in the house where that guy murdered his entire family?
Yes, we both have. Not officially. We've never been allowed officially, but
I was in there by accident.
It comes up for sale.
Yeah.
So
it's like so it was open house day, and you're like,
that's how I
and you
wound
got
up
your
in
recorders out, and it's like,
no, not even.
I get a phone call because Sarah knows about where it was located, but she was on a tour of the house. They're looking to buy a house, and all of a sudden I get this call, and I'm like, hello, and Sarah's like, Kathy. I said yes, and she said, what's the address?
Yeah.
What happened in this house? I get that. I get letters a lot and emails from people saying, hey, I went through this house, or I live in this house. What happened here?
I had no idea that was the house I was going. It was just it was a neat old home. I love old homes.
Mm-hmm.
I love old homes. I don't care. So I'll prefer to purchase an old home to a new one, right?
But not this one.
Yeah, but not this one. But we went in, and it was myself, my husband, and of course my daughter at the time. She was 2. So we just walk in, and it was so well done. The house really showed very, very well. The realtor was sitting there. It was just her. It was just the 3 of us to start. And we kind of walked, and I felt, okay, I want to go upstairs, right? So you go in the door, and to your left is this living room. It's very nice, big fireplace. And then you've got the stairwell upstairs, like right in front of the door. So I was like, well, let's go upstairs. Because the realtor's there on the couch. So I was like, I don't know. But I'm going to kind of give you your space, because I don't want the spiel. So So I'm gonna go up the stairs. So we went up the stairs. Totally innocent. Totally innocent. I have no idea what house I'm in. Go up the stairs, and as I'm climbing up, I'm like, I got to get up to the attic. I got to find where the attic is. I've got to get into this attic. And so I tried the door, what I think was to the attic. I'm pretty certain that was the attic door because it didn't make any sense for anything else, but it was locked. I'm like, gosh, this is weird. So we went in room by room, and each room, they were, and again, I can't stress this enough, they were just beautifully done. They were definitely children's rooms. They were, but they were very well done. That whoever had owned it did a great job. She did a wonderful job. But I just couldn't shake this feeling, and I'm like, ugh. I don't know what's going on here, but like the spidey senses were going off, and I'm just like, I've got to get up to the attic. I have to find this, I have to get up there. And in full disclosure, I will go into an attic in anyone's home. Like, I will go. I'm going.
Where's Sarah? She's in the attic?
She's in the attic.
Yeah.
Right? The basement's not as much, but attics for sure.
And it's not the ghosts in the basement. It's the spiders.
It's the spiders, yes. You will catch me on more than one investigation on camera where I've got my hood all the way up and it's cinched down. So I don't care if it's 90 degrees out. I've got my hood on. But so we go upstairs and it kind of leads you down the hallway, and there's bedrooms and whatnot. And then there's a back set of stairs to the kitchen, right? So you really just make this horseshoe. And we come down the back stairs, and Bella's getting a little bit, she's excited, but then she's getting less excited as we go on. And so we get down to the stairs, and we're in the kitchen, and I'm like, I just can't shake this. I don't know what's happening here, but I don't think this is for us. And so, but at that time, so by the time we make it to like the back stairs, there is a parade of people in this house. And I thought, look at this realtor. Yeah, she's killing it. Like, she is really doing
literally.
Yeah, she's really, exactly. Total pun intended. But she's doing a great job. Like, she really got the word out. Because usually you might bump into another person, but not. I mean, this is a parade of people. And they were like coming down the block. I'm like, wow, good for her. She's doing a great job, right? And then we get in the car, and I just can't shake it. And I look up to the attic window, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to call Kathy, because if anybody's going to know what's going on, it's going to be Kathy. So I call Kathy, and I'm like, have you ever heard of this house? I said, this is the number. This is where I'm at.
And she's like, do you know where you're at?
Yeah, that's exactly it. She was like,
run, Sarah, run.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
So
it makes sense now.
This is how I got started. I was not from Rockford.
Okay.
So I moved here. My dad lived here with my stepmom, and I moved here when I graduated from high school. Didn't know Rockford's history, and when I met my husband and we bought a house. Didn't know what had happened in the house, but started having things happen that I couldn't explain. And it turned out there was a murder-suicide in the house that we had purchased.
Oh, wow.
And that took me a long time to research all that and figure it all out and tell the story. But again, with the signs, when I found out there was a woman that was killed in my house, she was the same age as I was when I found the story.
Holy cow.
And she had, and the house, it was on the west side of Rockford, and my husband and I we had owned the house for a few years by this time, and our relationship had gone through some pretty bumpy times. And when I left the house after I found out what happened in it, and I was never really sure if our relationship, the problems with our relationship, had woken up whatever that was, or if they
caused it. Yeah.
And Sarah and I have been to the house. My ex-husband still owns it, and he is my ex-husband now. So still holds on to the house, can't seem to let it go. But she told me that the woman who died in my house, Geraldine, is still there because her husband was very controlling. He had an alcohol problem, and he is there, and he's waiting for somebody to come in. That was the first time that I really put that together, that maybe he caused my husband to have those angry flashes, and that just, amplified what was going on in our marriage. And so when people say that, oh, it's a ghost, it can't hurt you, there are ways that you don't even know
Exactly.
that can hurt. And
Yeah.
I
'Cause
never want to live in a house like that again.
Yeah. If that spirit was in misery, misery loves company, and they're gonna draw you along with it. So.
Absolutely, and but it made me want to know about the victim Geraldine, and I became obsessed with her. And she was the first person I really researched, the first murder victim that I researched, and and that was a time where they didn't have all these shows on that we talked about, and there wasn't somebody I could go to, and so I moved. And like I said, he still owns the house, and it's still there, and it really changed the way I looked at everything after that. So.
All right, guys. We're gonna take a break real quick. This is in the business where we call movie magic.
Oh, okay.
On YouTube, it's gonna look like we're like stumbling around for a couple minutes for a break, but podcasts would be like, oh, we're gonna run our stuff, and then boom, we're right back. So, guys, make sure to go out to our merch shop, Ghost Frickin' Talking Gear. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I got my red hoodie on, so if you guys want to check that out.
Love that.
We have any color that you want. Newsroom Nessie has a hot pink one too, so that come out pretty cool. But my battery is about to die on this laptop, so I gotta make sure to plug it in. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back. So follow the link and order your very own Ghost Frickin' Talking merch. Many colors and designs are available. You can even get coffee cups and dog bandanas. All right, guys, welcome back to Ghost Frickin' Talking. So go out and get your Ghost Frickin' Talking gear. Also, make sure to check out our friend Mr. Hinkle Draws. That's right. Go to Etsy, shop Mr. Hinkle Draws, and you as well can get some awesome, creepy stickers like this. Check out this Pennywise. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, check out that Pennywise sticker. So go out and order your awesome stickers via Etsy shop Mr. Hinkle Draws. He does some really awesome stuff, and he's getting out of the Lego game, so he is transitioning to more creepier stuff like that as well. So go out and check out Etsy shop Mr. Hinkle Draws. Also check out Slow Death. Slow Death is the gentleman that designed our Ghost Frickin' Talking logo. He is currently revamping our logo for the Brickhead family. So go out and give Slow Death some love on Insta and Facebook. All right, so we are back here with Kathy and Sarah. You guys are blowing me. Like I said, I feel like I'm with superstars. Like I said, being. Like I said, if you've seen anything on Facebook, Kathy's name is always attached to it. You said you've been doing this for about 17 years now.
Right.
And you started off with the true crime, right?
No, actually, I started out with the ghosts. I started out...
Isn't it weird how that happens? Usually it's the other way around. True crime and then ghosts.
I started this out because I homeschooled my children, and I taught them history by telling them the ghost stories of places that we were going to go visit. And my girls worked at the library with me, and we were trying to think of something new and cool to do for the library all those years ago. And they said, well, why don't you do what you do for us and do like a haunted tour for the library? So I asked my boss if that was okay, and they said yes. And I got a hold of the city bus company, and they gave us a bus. They sponsored the bus for us to use the first couple of years. And we would only get, like 24 people. But that's how we started, and we just did it in the fall. But as we got the word out, and people were like, why are you doing this year-round? Mm-hmm. And the library was like, we're not really into the whole year-round thing, but, by all means. So we started doing it, and like I said, I had other people involved with me, psychics and whatnot, and that worked out well, and we went to a bigger bus, that way we could hold more people.
Very cool.
We had to start charging at that time, but I was running everything for free because the library doesn't charge for our cool events. So that's how we started. But as I was looking into the stories and finding new stories, I came up with this theory that, not only, I mean, you hear, as you watch the show, you hear certain things really conduct paranormal activity, like Native American influence, or limestone, or running water. And I can remember, as you're looking for these stories, it seems like you want to really, look into what causes paranormal activity. Murder scenes are the definite top number one.
Definitely, because that's like an instant timestamp. It's so brutal that things just timestamp. On murders,
And if you think of the emotions,
yep.
You've got mostly two people involved. You've got the person, whether it be a female or male, and they've got that hatred or anger or whatever desire on them, and then you have the victim who's scared. Maybe she's angry, he's angry.
Yeah.
So there's all that emotion and turmoil, and it's captured all in that second, and it leaves a footprint on the location. And we've seen it so many times. Tinker is not one of those kind of things. Tinker's got a lot of good emotions there. Tinker's was kind of the reason I mentioned this, because Sam is sitting here with us. But that is the one thing that seems, if you can find the crime scenes are where we've seen it happen time and time again.
All right. Rockford gives a stigma for a violent city. So there's plenty of options around town for that. But you said you don't think Tinker is the most haunted place in Rockford.
It depends. There are different haunted places, and it depends on what you mean by haunted. I mean, the Coronado Theater, for one thing, they had some wonderful ghost stories come out of there, too. And, I mean, different places like that. As far as, like, the one we talked about down by the New Embassy Suites, that's definitely a haunted place. But it just depends on what you're looking for. The kind of experience
what kind of experience you're going for?
Yeah. But I don't recommend hanging out at some of the places that we discussed by yourself. I mean, I have done it.
Only Kathy has balls big enough to do that. We'll leave it up to Kathy to report back to us on what she finds.
And what I try to emphasize in my stories, and I hope people get this, I love Rockford, and I know we have the stigma of being a violent city. But in my stories that I have discovered, we also have a sense of compassion, a sense of neighborhoodness, where we, if a child goes missing, you've got people that'll come out and help you every time, and that is what I try to really show in my stories. Yes, this horrible thing happens, and it does leave this imprint on it. But then you've got the other side, where the Rockford really cares. We always come together when we have a neighbor in need.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I was plugging Mr. Hinklejaws. He's a friend of mine. And our other YouTube channel, The Brickhead Family, we do like vlogging of different things around Rockford and all that. And he lives in Connecticut, and he's like, for everything you made Rockford, he goes, Rockford sounded like it was like Hill Valley. It was so, togetherness and awesome. Yes. And he goes, one day, I went on YouTube and looked up Rockford, and he goes, wow, Rockford is very different than what you painted out to me.
Yes.
I think it kind of reminds me of Detroit in that, like,
Slimer.
Detroit has this stigma of being, obviously a steel city, right? Like the cars and this kind of downtrodden, but at the same time, there's this rebirth happening too. So it's kind of like Rockford is in this. I don't think we're anywhere near as far along as Detroit is on some of their rebirth, but I think we're getting there.
And I think we were doing really good before COVID happened. With all
Rockford, I was born and raised in Chesney Park, and I'm still there. That's just a stone throw away from what Rockford is, and just seeing from what Rockford was to what it is now, it's revitalized. We've done the walks downtown when it was like Spook Fest or whatever, where all the kids get to dress up and go to different shops and do everything, and years ago you weren't going to do that down State Street. So you know
So
how
not
they
that long ago. You know,
just a couple of years ago,
it wasn't that long ago that you just didn't go. First of all, there was nothing to do. There was nothing downtown. The onesie twosie shops were not what would bring anybody down there. But
now they got all those great restaurants, and
yeah,
so
it's
much
walkable.
happening. Yep.
It's walkable. There is still, you know, but I think that anywhere you go, you could walk and bump into undesirables. You know, somebody who is just, you know, I don't know, not somebody you'd want to be caught alone in the dark alley with, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're unique in that way.
No,
but
I think that's most places you go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, you know, for the people who don't venture downtown, you know, some people still stick it out on the east side or whatever, and they're like, oh, why would you ever go downtown?
Right.
Well, there's a lot of reasons to go downtown, but I feel like on some level, it's almost a little niche. You know, those of us that know, go, right? And I think City Market has helped bring a lot of people down there. Stroll on State has helped bring a lot of people down there. But
we've done vlogging for that, too. And,
I mean, we've got a lot going. Well, you know.
And you do walk before COVID and all. You did walking tours.
Yeah,
as well.
I do walking tours even during COVID. We just lowered the amount of people.
Twice a year.
Yeah. I usually do it once a month or so downtown. We do cemetery tours too, and I know a lot of people say I should do this Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, every day, every weekend. But you know, I have a life. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we usually do during the summer. We have a cemetery tour one weekend, and then we'll do a walking tour downtown. And then I do a really cool one in the fall with Midway Village, where they dress up for the time period of the story.
See.
And they tell the story from that person's viewpoint. And it was very unnerving for me to turn over those stories, because that's why I don't have a lot of people that do these in different cities. They just run the tours, and other people interpret those stories. But I always do my own tours. And Sarah and Sam join me. We have other people who are guests. But when I turned it over Midway Village, it turned out so good. They did such a wonderful job representing the people in my stories, and to see those people come to life.
That's really cool.
Amazing.
And speaking of Midway Village, for a long time, they didn't want to admit if anything being down there.
Us
a long time.
It took us a while to get going, and now they hold these Victorian evenings where it's they do kind of a spooky thing too. So I think that we showed them that
it's always kind of baffling to me, and it's since as long as I can remember. I love history, but how else does history truly come alive? You're already talking about somebody who's dead, right? But so maybe you're in Gettysburg and you're in the tavern. You can hear Robert E. Lee walking back and forth across the floor, right? Or you're in what is it?
Jenny Wade's house, where she was shot.
And you're bumping into those spirits, so you're talking about the history of the people, but then they're showing up. So it brings it to life. They're not gone.
And that's what
makes it real. It's tangible then. You're not just talking about some old dead dude like Bill and Ted, right? Like this old dead dude, right?
So that's what I think makes our stories so good too. And when I'm so fortunate to find people like Sarah who have joined me over the years, because not only do you hear the history from my side of it, somebody who's researched these stories, you actually heard from somebody who's involved through Sarah's part of it. And it is really shown me, I mean, for the people who just think that we live this life and it's done. You know, to hear Sarah's stories have really changed the way I look at this world and the afterlife. And it also makes me when I go speak at schools, I get asked a lot to come into high school history classes or 8th grade. We've done our 8th grade tour with Eisenhower. What I tell them is I think that the world would be a lot better place if you really thought that the person who raised you would still see what you knew.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that it would really be.
Right.
And that's what I tell the kids when we do these stories. But I think that anybody who thinks that this is just it, I think that they're missing out on a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is that, I'll see stuff posted on Facebook of these tours and events that you do, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'll buy a ticket next week. They don't. They go fast.
Really fast.
They go
really
super fast.
Yeah.
So people are hungry for this.
Yeah.
Whether it's these paranormal shows, people are more interested in it now. It's more acceptable than it was, heck, even 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's always growing. It's always growing and adapting.
And I think the other thing, we also try to do them as fundraisers for different organizations like the Veterans Memorial Hall. We may not be able to hold, because they are a venue, and they've grown now. So sometimes they're not available. So we may host a walking tour, a cemetery tour for them, and then give them the proceeds for that, and Tinker and some of the other places too. And we get contacted by, we're hoping to add ethnic. We've done the Ethnic Heritage Museum downtown, and then now they've got the Genestra House, and we're hoping to build that into something
cool.
that we can host things. So, yeah, they go fast.
Yeah.
And we're happy about it. I mean, of course we're happy about it, especially when we're all doing it as a fundraiser for other.
We get a lot of new faces too. I mean, in all of the years that we've been doing this, I think that's always been surprising, because you do have some that come back. You get the ones that keep coming back, and you get to know them. But you also get so many who are brand new, and we've had people travel in.
Yes, from different states, Wisconsin and Iowa and Indiana.
Yeah, even from the city, they'll come in from like Aurora just for the tour. Like, whoa, what are you doing in Rockford? Well, we came for the tour.
Wow.
You came for the tour? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's why more places, like Tinker and that need to, embrace, the history, and if it's haunted, man up to it. Don't try to hide it. It's not a stigma anymore. It's
it brings people in.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you get, going back to the whole skeptical side, right? You get areas, I think we've all seen it, where they claim they've got a haunted location. Not necessarily here in Rockford, but just nationwide or even worldwide. They claim they've got a haunted place just to get the business, right? And they'll start telling the stories and whatnot. Now, are they true? Who knows? But you've seen that too, where they, I've got a haunted bed and breakfast,
And you go there and you're like,
I don't think it's haunted.
And that's how I spend a lot of my time, is I travel the country visiting haunted spaces. We haven't traveled this year, obviously. We did travel to go to North Dakota. I was doing some family genealogy. We stopped at Fort Abraham Lincoln, where Custer had lived with his wife, Libby, and then he left there to go to his battlefield. That was the last place he was. And she and he haunt the house. And that was really, really cool.
Wow.
And they really embraced it there. And I was happy to see that. They actually host a big fall event where they have the ghosts of Fort Abraham Lincoln.
Very cool.
And the kid was talking about, how it's really slow, even not COVID time. It's kind of slow sometimes, but then it heats up around Halloween, because they really emphasize the ghost part of it.
Right. And you start bringing more people through it, and energy ramps up a little more.
And sometimes when we go into these places, I research them, I know the story, and the person who's giving the tour doesn't know anything about it. And I'll say, well, do you ever have anything? And they'll say, we don't talk about that.
I've done that too. A few years ago, we took a visit to Lincoln's house down in Springfield. Yep. And I'm that guy, and I'm like, and we're doing the tour, and I'm like looking around, I'm like, you guys ever get any ghosts or any experience? And the lady kind of looked at me, and she goes, we don't talk about any kind of that stuff around here. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But they do. I mean, we were at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, and I had taken my two youngest daughters, or I have 5 children, but they had graduated from college that year. So I took them out there for a visit. My mom lived out there, and we went up to see Estes Park and the Stanley.
Oh, yeah.
I had been there
That's a bucket list. That's a bucket list place.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I've been there like 5 times. But we took the tour, and the boy that was given the tour was kind of eyeing my girls, and they're attractive. They're so he approached us, and I had been taking notes, and he said, I can tell you're really into this tour. Would you like the after tour? Now, I know he didn't mean it, because I'm taking notes. Because he wanted to see, spend a little more time with
exactly.
I totally sold them under the bus. I'm like, yes, we do.
Yeah, let's do it.
We went to the tunnels underneath.
All right, ladies, we're doing this.
Yeah, we got into some of the places that, he didn't show on the normal tour. And yeah, I'll sell my goods out for that. Yeah.
Definitely. We went to out in Galena. There's a Grant's house, I believe.
Yep,
we did the tour there, and I asked, just like I do everywhere, I'm like, do you guys have any paranormal experiences here? And the lady goes, no, we haven't had anything in the house. She goes, but if you go downtown to the jailhouse, she goes, now there's heavy activity down
They
there.
have like 5 tour groups in Galena. So yeah, there's a few.
I remember. Do you remember when there was just the one?
Yeah.
Yep, it was just the one, and it was that way for years and years and years.
But now it's a
oh my gosh, yeah. And that's different. That's a big difference between here and there, right? Galena isn't that far away.
But it's a
and
tourist spot.
It is, and they're so open about it. You can go into the shops and you can ask these questions, but Rockford, even though it's been all these years that we've been doing this, they still tend to be a little tight-lipped, and I think that they just need to feel you out a little bit. Like, why are you asking? What's going on?
Yeah. They give you the shifty eyes. Like,
they do. And then you're like, look, I'm just interested, or you almost have to give a little to get the story from them. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Look,
but we've gotten the reputation now that I can't really contact people for anything. If I call them or write a letter, like show up at their house,
just
they're like,
taxes.
Your categories. Oh no.
Oh no.
Somebody died in my house.
Maybe. I really just need this.
We pulled up with a big white bus, and
right?
yeah.
It's like
a story. We've done that before. We were on the tour, and people will come out of the house going, "What are you here for? Why do you have this bus?"
Kind of reminds me of American Horror Story, the first season, where all of a sudden the tour bus goes up to their house, and they're just kind of like, why is there a tour bus? And they're like, this is the death house.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Wander out going, what is happening?
Yeah, we've done that on more than one occasion to more than one location.
Yeah.
People come out and they're like, what? We're like, it's your house right there. You.
Right. Now, in Illinois, do they have to disclose in Illinois that there was a death in the house?
They I think they should, but they didn't
Not every
tell
state
us.
does.
They didn't tell us, and your realtor didn't mention it then. So I think that they can't.
Well, there's some different stipulations between the states too. So sometimes they have to disclose, yes, there was a murder or some sort of, right? Like if there was a
calamity.
Yeah, some sort of nefarious activity, right? Because there's death in the house, like natural death, and then there's unnatural death, right? So in some states they have to disclose. So you don't even have to ask. They have to disclose. In other states you have to ask. Did somebody die in my house?
There's been court cases where they have gotten their money back because they weren't told that they were ghosts.
But I think and I don't know for Illinois, I don't know if you have to ask.
The people who bought the Amityville horror house wish that they had disclosed.
No, isn't that
on the wall? It should be.
Isn't that a strange story? Because I just watched a documentary on that. But some of the people who have lived there since the Lutz family left, they'll claim, oh, nothing ever happens, and blah, blah, blah. So the reporter who had been present during the Lutz family experience has tried to talk to some of the homeowners since then. Now, that house has changed hands many, many times.
Yeah.
Right?
And I believe it's just now going on the market again.
It did. They got rid of the half moon windows, and then they got, which I think it was a bad choice, but whatever.
Yeah.
But the reporter would kind of not casually ask, about the house, the entity in the house or whatever. And some of these people are vehemently against it. Oh, it's never right? But then she said, and then the one person, I think the most recent owner, oh, nothing ever happened, blah, 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 blah. But then she ended the statement with, when the reporter brought up the Lutz family, she said, they're the ones who brought the darkness into the house, which then the reporter says, I thought that was a very strange statement to say after you've been, saying, hey, nothing has ever happened. So it is very interesting.
I'll get to them in a couple minutes here.
And we actually have a house on one of our tours that it's been described. Okay, so there was a murder that happened in the house. And Sarah picked up that the family that came in sometime between that murder and now, like saw things happening or maybe felt something and tried to make a connection, and they brought in Ouija board or whatever, not knowing how to use them. And now it has caused a kind of a darkness in the house, but maybe not, the ghost of this poor guy that was murdered by his wife in the house. It had nothing to do with him. It was more of what they were experiencing, and then tried to make that connection. And when you don't know what you're doing, and you throw open a door, things come through.
Oh yeah. I'm not a huge believer in Ouija boards, but I collect them. It's like, I go to secondhand stores and I'll buy used ones.
I can't have them in the house. Because of that doorway thing, I can't have them. I don't know what they were used for.
Yeah.
I just get a really bad feeling.
I think his name is Robert Murch. Have you ever heard of him? He collects, and he collects like on a very big scale. He started off small, but he collects like on this really big scale now. He's like, people just mail me this. I think he's out of Massachusetts. I think it's Merch. I think his name is Robert Murch.
Yeah. The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
And he's like, he became the Ouija board guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, he didn't mean to, but it just sort of, because he was fascinated, and he was skeptical, and he's like,
I'm skeptical as all hell on them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they open doors or whether you can talk to them, I'm still on the fence with that.
And you have to be real careful when you bring, even stuff from a secondhand shop into your home. Because, that energy can be trapped in stuff.
Even purchasing a home.
Yeah, and that's what
even purchasing a home.
I went down to Alton on Troy Taylor went to a wonderful conference down there. And I went down there with my daughter, and we were visiting one of the haunted locations, and it happened to be the prison that was there, the penitentiary. And a lot of Confederate soldiers were held there during the Civil War, and so they have the corner left of it. And I collect rocks from where I go, but I make sure that they are good to come home. My daughter didn't realize
it's not like the Bell Witch where you bring a rock from there and you're pretty screwed.
Or the one in Hawaii.
The volcano rock.
I took a rock and brought it home. Threw it in my car. I unloaded my car, and all of a sudden I had whistling in my house. Now,
oh wow.
Yeah, and it's disembodied whistling, but I'm just like, wow. So I made a pact with. I called my daughter and I said, "Did you bring something home?" And she's like, "Yeah, I picked you up a rock from the prison."
Oh.
Great.
Yeah.
So I had to make this deal with this.
Now I get it in me.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Thanks, honey." That. I wouldn't take him back to the prison in Alton. He could stay in my lovely garden, but he needed to stay outside my house.
Nice.
And it's kind of funny because it was, during the summertime we were doing this tour, and then my neighbor was like, "You ever hear anybody out here whistling?" And I'm like, "Nope, not now." But
no idea what you're talking about, weirdo.
But yeah, now I haven't told Sarah this, but now I've got somebody humming out there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So you just don't know what you can pick up, and you gotta be really careful.
Definitely.
Especially when you visit some of the places I visit.
Yeah, I want to revisit this when we get you guys back on here a little bit, where we're going to bring in a different guest here, because I have, I did a Ouija board experiment with the people at the Conjuring House, where we did it remotely with each other. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that and how we did that. So
super excited.
We'll come back with you guys in a little bit here, but we're going to bring in real life Ghostbusters.
Excited to hear that.
So you guys, we're going to take a quick break here, and then I'll bring back our next guest, the Ghostbusters, ladies and gentlemen. The Winnebago County Ghostbusters, I think. Mm-hmm. I think that's what he said. Yep. All right, so we'll check those guys out. So I'm going to take a break here, and we'll be back with you guys in a few minutes.
And if you want your very own Ghost Frickin' Talking t-shirt, coffee cups, and heck, even dog bandanas, head to the link below.
All right, guys, so welcome back to Ghost Frickin' Talking. That is right, we are back here. We are still live at Wolf Hollow in Rockford, Illinois. We want to thank Kathy and Sarah. I will have them back here in a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, who you gonna call? And it is the Ghostbusters, ladies and gentlemen, the Winnebago County Ghostbuster team.
Yep, that's right.
All right, guys, so want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is James Robertson. I'm the captain of the Winnebago Ghostbusters. And this is my lieutenant, Bradley. Say hello, Bradley.
Hey.
This is my engineer, Brian Ingram.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, guys, so I think I've seen you guys before at different events. There was a comic convention, I think, that was here. Was it?
It would be QuadCon?
QuadCon,
yeah.
I was there but I was under the disguise of the not Ghostbusters. No, I got me go. The Brickhead family. We did a big old Lego table and stuff like that. So we've been there with you guys as well. And do you guys have the really cool Ghostbusters car here?
We've got the Ecto outside, yep. It's just a minivan, but I'm fond of it. It gets us around.
Yeah, the kids see it, around the neighborhood, around town, and they're like, "There's the Ghostbusters!" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, we love it.
And I have to say, I am a huge Ghostbusters fan. I'm an '80s baby, and that was my number one movie. It still is my number one movie. I have my best friend. He's probably out there listening right now. He's more of a fan of the second one, so he quotes the second one, even though I'm not a huge fan of the second one as I am the first one. But what does the Winnebago County Ghostbusters entail?
Well, we're a not-for-profit charity group. We like to do parades and parties, conventions, anything that we can to really get out there with the community. And then we raise fundage for such sites as like Shriners Children's Hospital. We've done a lot for Shriners Children's Hospital. We've also done stuff for St. Jude's, Autism Speaks. We've done quite a bit with local places like the Discovery Center and just all sorts of places here. What else have we done?
Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots, definitely.
We raised money and went out and bought presents for them.
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, we just in one event, I think we raised $140, and then I actually sent Bradley here over to Five Below to buy just everything he could, just a mix of toys, and we donated all that Toys for Tots that day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good stuff right there, guys.
We do All Hallows Eve, and that's over at Midway Village. We've done that for 3 years.
What does that entail?
Okay.
That's where kids go in and do all the trick or treating stuff. Okay,
they can go in and trick or treat at all the different buildings.
Okay.
This year, we did still have the event, and it was a drive-through event.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was drive-through, wasn't it?
There were some kinks to work out, of course, but since it's so new and trying to work around everything going on in the world today, I think it went relatively well, and hopefully things will get back to where we can do some better stuff coming up in the next year.
Oh, very cool. All right, so do you guys actually hunt ghosts, or is it just like a club?
This group, the Ghostbusters, is the not-for-profit charity. We do the fun stuff. We dress up as Ghostbusters. We look the part. We do the
you guys got the
sometimes we do the
jumpsuits
dance.
and
We do everything. We do have another group.
Do you do the walk where you kind of like throwing the fingers out?
I don't anymore. I didn't do it very well to begin with. But I do have another group that I'm forming up that's a paranormal group, and all of us are paranormal investigators.
Very cool.
Actually, most of the group has either had paranormal experience or is a paranormal investigator of some kind.
And the few that aren't are very interested in starting.
Yep.
Very cool.
I mean, we've got people all over northern Illinois, Wisconsin area. We've got probably a good dozen or more of us right now.
Very cool. So have you guys been to anywhere really spooky to where you were like, man, this is there is such thing as the paranormal?
We've had a limited number of spooky interactions, but we've also had probably more so just really interesting interactions.
And of course, everything's unexplained.
That's the paranormal. Yep. Anything unexplained is paranormal.
Yep. Right. And that's it's such a cool thing to be listening to your recording and go, I remember that I was standing here, I was doing this, and then you're like, that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you go through it and you're like, wow, that's really neat.
And our number one concern anytime we do those investigations, if you will, is to try to disprove anything we find before we believe it.
Yep. Right. That's when we do our investigations, we like to go in and disprove everything. Yeah. Debunk. And if it's something that we go through over and over again and can't explain it, I'm not saying it's a ghost. I'm just plugging in as paranormal.
Yep.
Sure.
So something that you can't physically explain with science or your own.
We've all been through some weird enough stuff. I know this guy here, Brian's been hit in the face.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, to the point where my lip was bleeding.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Not a lot, mind you, but
enough to make sure
enough
that you knew
to
you were
wake
there.
your ass
yeah,
up.
Definitely.
Of course.
For sure. Yeah.
I've had a lamp slide off of a table, hit me in the leg, and then we caught laughter on the EVP. So just some weird stuff.
We even had one instance where there was a couple comments back and forth between two people that weren't there.
Right.
Really?
Yep.
Talking about us being there.
So they're having a conversation about you guys entering their territory.
Yeah. Like the most clear thing you could actually hear was, when are they going to leave?
Yeah.
Really?
Like it was really bizarre. Like it was one of my first investigations, so I went in very skeptical. Because actually James is kind of the one that's gotten me into all this, and I went in like, there's no way you guys find this stuff doesn't happen, whatever. And then when we were listening to the recorders, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And we try to do it as pure as possible, where it goes right to recording the computer and start reviewing so that there's no alterations to the actual recordings. And because even when he first started, it was like, well, you could alter that. It's like, of course we could. Anybody can.
But why?
But why?
But why?
Exactly.
You look at TikTok or any social media, everyone's out there trying to get the hit count with fake stuff.
Yep.
And it aggravates the piss out of me.
It does.
When
there's enough real stuff out there. You don't need to fake anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And what sticks out in your mind, Brad?
The only one I remember is when we did the review at the one house in Freeport.
Yep.
So do you guys do like personal homes, or do you guys do like bigger places?
The group that we were a part of that's disbanded, we did private residences. We did wherever really. We were supposed to possibly even do one of the bowling alleys, but the new group, I think we're gonna kind of stick to that, and just. We believe that if it's something that you want looked into, you shouldn't have to worry about, how much is this going to cost? Is this going to be, a difficult thing? We try to come in, disturb as little as possible, do it in a night, and then if we need to come back, we schedule that with the homeowner. We do review, all sorts of cool stuff like that. But we do a lot of we've done a lot of private residences.
Just out of curiosity, what's this group that you were part of that disbanded?
We were a part of Illinois Paranormal Investigations, IPI.
Okay,
so
all right. I think I heard of them. I'm part of a defunct. I was part of Winnebago County Paranormal.
Okay.
A few years ago. And for some reason, groups just disband, and either one person wants to go a different direction than the other person. So
also when you're doing those things, trust is a big part of that.
Yep, trust is a big part.
If even one person in your group causes anybody to not trust them, that group falls apart.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Yeah. So
and we all just kind of went our separate ways and whatnot, and that's going to be when things get back to where we can go out and we can do some cool stuff again.
Yeah.
I'd like to get the group together. I've got a good core. I'm actually going to be having Bradley as my lead investigator, and I think you were slated for mostly audio review, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
Which is interesting because he can't hear out of his left ear.
That just makes my right ear that much better.
It does. I'm actually.
It enhances the other side to where he can hear, a mouse part.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We're looking forward to getting back out there and doing some more, not only paranormal investigations, but a lot with the Ghostbusters. We've done so much good work. I know in 2019, working together with some other Ghostbusters groups, we were able to pull together, it was a $2,400 donation to Shriners.
Oh, wow.
And we actually donated that right to their housekeeping department, because housekeeping, security, and maintenance are generally three of the departments that get overlooked the most.
Yep.
So we were happy to do that, and of course, even happier to do it now knowing what happened after the fact. Being able to put that kind of money into housekeeping to keep beds clean and to keep things sanitized in what's going on today.
Yeah, definitely.
It's huge. It's
definitely huge. And like I said, I've seen you guys at the shows. And when you guys are there, you guys are selling slime and stuff like that. And, I think my kids spent $25 on slime the one time, and it comes back with all these little jars of slime.
And we try to make as much of the slime ourselves as we can. Sometimes we get donated pre-made slime, and we'll put that out as well, but we try to make as much of it as we can on our own. We try different recipes all the time, and that's something fun that we actually do is we'll do slime demos for people.
Oh, cool.
I know the after-school programs are interested in having us come out when things are a little bit better and do huge demonstrations where everybody gets to make slime and do stuff like that. There was a group that wanted us to come out before all this hit, and it was going to be a sensory slime. This was a lot of individuals with different needs that needed like textural.
Yeah.
So we were going to make salt slime and sand slime and smooth slimes, all the different kinds of the crunchy and the smooth texture and the silk texture, to see what would be therapeutic for them.
Very cool.
And that was going to be a really cool thing. Hopefully we still get to do that in the future.
Yeah. On my other YouTube channel, the Brickhead Family, we did other stuff other than Lego. So we did a slime thing, but we like infused it with like essential oils.
Oh.
So like you know, like if you're handling it, it is like basically washing your hands as well.
That's
you know,
cool.
sanitizing and stuff like that. So
That's a neat idea.
We actually tried a marshmallow scent oil in some slime.
Yeah.
And of course we did white slime because marshmallow.
Yeah, exactly.
And over probably about a week, it turned in a wonderful brown color.
Oh,
Because
well,
the oil
toasted
infused-
marshmallow, right?
Yeah, toasted marshmallow. It kind of worked out. And you know, we're always looking for different avenues of just trying to generate the donations for our different charities that we do. We're looking to work more local as well. I know there's a few places here in town that could definitely use the help. And that's what we like to do. We like to do stuff with kids and just brighten their days.
Definitely.
We do a party, at least we did before all this, we did a party at Shriners Children's Hospital every year. So we'd go in and they'd trick or treat. The patients that are there and people that had been patients in the past were able to come in, trick or treat with us, and various groups that were there. There was probably a good 20 different groups of different things. We had Marvel superheroes there. We had, they do pumpkin contests, all sorts of cool stuff for the kids. It's really wonderful to be a part of that, to see that, and have people come together to do that kind of thing for the
Very
kids.
cool. Yeah. There are different chapters of Ghostbusters.
Yes, there are.
Because I was in Bettendorf, Iowa, for Planet FunkCon a couple years ago, and I seen that I'm like, whoa, are these the same Ghostbusters from the QuadCon? But no, they're a different chapter.
We travel, but there are actually Ghostbusters all over the world. Not just here. There's Ghostbusters all over. And just in this general region, like you've got the Galena Ghostbusters out of Galena, Illinois. You've got Iowa. And I think they're more out of like Clinton, Iowa.
Yeah, this
Dubuque
Ghostbusters
area.
group had a PT Cruiser.
Okay.
That would be Black Squadron Ghostbusters.
Yep, that'd be Black Squadron Ghostbusters.
And she opened up the back end of this sucker, and it was like all lit up, and it was like, man, this is a legitimate Ghostbusters thing going on.
Yeah, I have goals and aspirations. It's just,
Yeah, each group has their own specific car they use.
Yeah.
And they'll deck it out to
Oh,
what
it's
they
beautiful.
like to do.
And the kids love it. The kids just swamp around.
You should
swamp
see the
around.
reactions the kids give at parades and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They see even just our van, which is not 100% decked out by any means, but they see it and they're all screaming Ghostbusters.
Yep, I've got
Ghostbusters.
I've got lights. I've got tanks. I've got a bunch of stuff. We've got work to do. Was going to get done in 2020, and of course, just
Oh
with
yeah,
everything.
2020 took a shit on everything.
2020 was
so-
dumpster fire, and just we took a big step back, and we're hoping that with things coming together, that we're going to get back out there hard and strong and get that moving. The new movie's supposed to drop November 11th.
Yeah, I was so disheartened when they bumped it from last July, right?
Yeah, it was last July. We were slated to be at the AMC Theater and do a whole big day of that, be at the premiere and just have some. We were at the premiere for 2016. Back before we had founded, we were part of Galena, and we were at the 2016
Do we really
premiere.
talk about that Ghostbusters though?
It has its good parts.
Or am I?
It tore the community in half. Like the Ghostbusters fandom, it really did some damage.
And, and
there's some
for
people out
me,
there that
when I bag on it, people are like, "Oh, you're just sexist." I'm like, "No, I just didn't like the movie. I didn't like that. It was like one big queef joke, for the entire movie. It just didn't have the sense of humor that the original Ghostbusters had."
But you'll notice too, like any movie, made now is like that. Like the humor that made comedies what they were back in the 80s and 90s is just not the same anymore.
No.
So that being said, like if you take it with a grain of salt, the movie was all right for what it was. If you look at it like a standalone.
The main thing that I take away from the 2016 movie is it generated an entirely new generation of Ghostbusters, and to a point gave them a lot of that girl power. There's so many girls. My girls, of course, love Ghostbusters. They've loved all the movies, but this one really just sparked this whole generation of new Ghostbusters, which is great. And of course, it gave us a whole bunch of new toys.
The movie was gorgeous. Visually it was stunning. The ghosts in it were so realistic looking. It was just visually it was good. Just the comic, aspect of it. I wish they would have tied it into if it was like an alternate dimension maybe, and then tied it that way. But that's what I was kind of hoping from it. But for it to be its like own standalone thing and like not really have anything to do with the original, I think that's where it lost on me.
But they kind of did with the IWI comic books. They did mold it into its own separate universe. So they have the Answer the Call Ghostbusters, the 84 Ghostbusters, even the games, and the cartoons, they mixed that in there too.
Because wasn't the video game supposed to be like the third movie? I thought
essentially that's what we had then. Now this is the official third movie, but the video game is canon, and I think it's between those two events. So you've got Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the game, and now the new movie that's coming out.
Right.
I think it's the progression of things. I personally have tried to stay out of a lot of what's going on, just so that when I go in, I kind of have a fresh view of the movie. I have seen the trailer. I've seen the new gear that's been modified. I'm super excited to see that. I'm glad that the Ecto has rust on it because it makes my van look not so out of place.
Lego just came out with a giant build of the Ghostbusters car.
Did you get that?
I don't have it yet, but when it comes, I know that the rust is stickered on it.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm not putting the rust on it. I want it to look fresh and pristine as the ideas set or the Cusco set that came out a couple years ago.
That Ecto, that Lego set is gorgeous. I definitely want to get my hands on one of those.
I have the firehouse. I have the firehouse. The firehouse
I have the firehouse too.
Yep.
I got it before it got discontinued.
Oh, nice. Yep.
I have the Playmobil firehouse.
See, I don't collect the Playmobil stuff, but it was like Ghostbusters. I'm like, I gotta get it, but kind of steered away from it. But then I was at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and they came out with the real Ghostbusters action figures again.
Yep.
So of course, only thing on the pegs were the Ghostbusters and no Slimer or Stay Puft.
Good luck finding Slimer.
Last week, I found both Stay Puft and Slimer,
now I'm jealous.
I picked those up.
I'm jealous. I don't even have
because those were the action figures that I had when I was a kid.
Same.
I had the old firehouse and the Ghostbusters car and the second wave of guys where you squeeze them and their eyeballs come out.
The astronaut version of Winston, I've got one of those. We've got a couple of avid collectors that we know that have a ton of stuff. One of them's sitting here, and then
I still have my toys from the kid.
Oh wow!
I don't. My parents sold all my Ghostbusters stuff and my Jurassic Park stuff. Thanks, Mom. Well, and I've told her, I was like, hey, you sold all that stuff when I was younger, and now look what you've done.
Yeah. Right.
Now I just have bigger and better toys.
Yeah, now I gotta spend $15 on this $5 toy from back in the 80s.
Well, and the other thing to mention is that as far as like our Ghostbusters group goes, it's all proceeds go to our charities. Mm-hmm. And we don't take a lot of the donations to put into the group, really. Mm-hmm. We do all of that mainly by personal donation.
Yep.
Like his entire uniform, that's all his own
That's
purchase.
all
mine is the
money.
same. All my personal stuff is mine. Some of the inflatables are personal, owned by me. But we try to do bigger purchases like that for the group. That way it's a group thing. Everybody pitches in, and we get it for the group. We've got the big, the inflatable Ecto 1.
Ah.
That thing's like 20 feet long. It's ridiculous, and it is an absolute wind sail. So we're always so worried about putting it out. And that's what happened to us at All Hallows Eve this year, is we wanted to put out so much stuff, but the wind was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And the wind has gotten them a couple of years in a row. Just in that time frame of year, it just gets really windy.
And I could just see that big Stay Puft Marshmallow Man being like one of those flag guys that kind of.
If we can actually, we've been trying to figure out how to make that into a costume for me. So if we can do that, it ain't going anywhere.
Don't they have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume? It's
They
like
do,
the inflatable?
but it is not for people who are sized as such.
Are you sure?
Close to the Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Are you sure? Because it looks like it blows up pretty good.
It is big. We call him Big Man for a reason. He's broad-shouldered. And he's a big old football player. And there is a gentleman, I think it's a gentleman, it might be a company, I'm not sure, out of, was it Puerto Rico? I forget. They make a mascot-style Stay Puft costume.
Oh, yeah?
And that's something that we've
just
kind
came
of,
off this year, actually.
It did. And
it's surprisingly not as much as you would think.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
we're working
thinking
on trying to get it.
If I were to guess, 1,500.
Actually, about a third of that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And that's including like shipping and stuff. And if you send measurements, they'll measure to it.
With shipping, it was close to like 7.
Yeah, that's
Which
if
I was blown away by.
That's if he's still doing it.
Right.
You know this was.
He was just getting started, and then with his company building these costumes, like he's got some that look like some of the Muppets.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff.
And then COVID hit, and I haven't seen anything from him online.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's
COVID hit
going
a
on.
lot of things
It
pretty
did.
bad.
It did. And that's one of the things we want for this guy. He's like our driver. Like a lot of what he does is he drives the vehicles and parades, but he wants his part of Ghostbusters to be Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Hey, when you're built like Stay Puft, you gotta be for Stay
Well,
Puft,
then I
right?
figured there's already a
How many
dozen guys
Ghostbusters?
with their jumpsuits.
Right.
Like I want to be able to give the kids that one more different
more
thing to
thing.
look at.
And then you gotta get a short person and color them in green and have them run around in Slimer.
Get Slimer running around. And we've got a Slimer that we got from Spirit Halloween. We've got a great relationship with the local Spirit Halloween store.
Oh, very cool.
And they actually do a lot as far as donations too. So when you go to Spirit and you can donate to that, this year it was for Shriners. So they'll just round up your change, and it doesn't seem like much, but every time you do that, it adds to that total. And they donate costumes to some of their employees to go to the hospitals and dress up and just have the fun with the kids as well. And it's another great cause. It's just one more thing we like to add to. But I've got the Slimer from Spirit, and the kids absolutely love Slimer.
I seen Randy was playing with it.
Randy was playing with him.
Kind of set him up here on the ledge a little earlier.
And it's just a great thing to be able to have him in the pictures. The kids can hold him, and
like I said, I've seen him at the events. Yep. He's usually sitting on a table and kind of chilling.
And we've got our ghost traps, and luckily the last few years there's been a ton of new stuff come out. I know we've got one member who he's about to become an official member. He's still in his probationary period, but he's got just about everything now, and he likes to modify his stuff. So he'll paint it, he'll add things, and he's got some real talent as far as prop making and whatnot.
Yeah, because I was checking out the stuff at Spirit this year, and the Ghostbuster stuff looked pretty almost legit.
Yeah.
From a few years ago.
I'm happy about ghost traps. Ghost traps were expensive to have. I had bought one for $90 that was literally a table display. No. Please don't touch me. And I had it on my pack, and it got busted within a year.
Oh, no.
But then they came out with the Spirit, and Walmart came out with traps as well. So now you can get a trap for $25 that actually opens and looks decent enough.
Yeah, I remember having the trap as a kid. You'd step on the little and it'd go, and
I still have one of those.
And you had this little itty bitty tiny ghost that came with it. And I had the proton pack that had like the little foam beam that was on it. And
I was born in '83, and Ghostbusters, of course, was '84. And I didn't even know about this. I was talking to my parents maybe a couple months ago. And your first birthday was Ghostbusters.
Oh, sweet.
Like, you weren't old enough to remember any of it, but it was what was out, and it was what was available, so we decided to go with it. And like, look what you did.
Yeah, I was born in '81, so like I was just old enough when it came out that it was like everything. My bedspread was Ghostbusters. Yeah, everything had to be Ghostbusters.
Ecto Cooler and Ghostbusters cereal.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. And I was so excited a few years ago. They brought out the Ecto Coolers again.
We bought many cases of Ecto Cooler.
Let's face it, you probably bought pallets worth.
Between the 3 or 4 Ghostbusters groups that we associated with, we probably did buy a good pallet or 2 of Ecto Cooler.
And I was really looking forward, and I didn't see if it came out. It might have, but there was like an old tube of like squeezed gum. It was like Slimer.
I remember that.
And I was really hoping that maybe that would have made its way back, but it didn't make it to the shelf. I guess it was just nasty back then, so it wasn't going to come back.
They are bringing back the cereal.
The cereal is going to come back.
And I seen that the Ghostbusters official YouTube channel is relaunching the old cartoon every Saturday morning.
Launched this today, actually.
Yep,
that's cool.
Yeah, so that was my cartoon growing up as a kid.
I mean, look at the voice actors involved too. Frank Welker's in everything.
Yes.
Like if it was a noise or a sound, he had his voice in it. I mean, and that's the cool part about our family. Like my family in particular, like voice actor wise, like Dave Coulier, for instance, played Peter Venkman in the real Ghostbusters. So that's where I'm at. Of course, Joey on Full House. So my kids have watched Full House and love him for that. And then he's Animal from Muppet Babies, and my little one loves Muppet Babies. And then he's done some stuff for Scooby-Doo as well, and that's my wife. So just that one individual has touched us all in so many different aspects, and I'd love to meet him and get some autographs. We've met Dan Aykroyd. I have, and Ernie Hudson. Ernie's a great guy. Yes. Dan is, of course, as well. But Ernie, like, you wouldn't think it. Shake that man's hand.
Yeah, he lives and dies on that Ghostbusters stuff, though.
You shake his hand, and it's you don't think of him as getting up there in years or anything like that. He has got a grip on him. He is built. He is taking very good care of himself. And great guy, absolutely great guy. We heard he was at a place on my daughter's birthday. We happened to be in Chicago. Heard that he was nearby, went there and mentioned it was her birthday, gave her an autographed pictures, a happy birthday, good stuff.
Very cool.
And like Dan, he does a lot for the community still too. Big for the community.
Yeah. And what I love about Dan Aykroyd is that he is 100% down with the paranormal.
Oh yeah,
that guy is all about it.
Yes.
So it's not like it's some actor that was just like this is my my gig. This was his baby. Right?
Yep. Oh, it's his whole family.
Actually, if I remember correctly, I watched him on another podcast, and he was talking about how the newer movie is supposed to basically be what got him into it.
All right. So I've watched the the movies that make us on Netflix because they did the Ghostbusters one, and originally the Ghostbusters were supposed to be doing something in space.
It was futuristic.
Futuristic, like the original concept was space related.
Now, how different would that? Do you think that Ghostbusters would have took off the way it did if they went with that concept of like kind of a futuristic space thing, than more than it is kind of like this is happening in real life, I
think it took off because that it was kind of relatable. Like this could actually be a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think even now, like the futuristic and space stuff is so flooded as far as movies and TV shows that they would have just kind of fallen by the wayside possibly, but by taking the paranormal route, it really opened things up for them, I think.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Alien come out in?
Yeah, Alien came out the same time. But Alien was basically riding on the coattails of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everything at that time was
space was
Star Wars is the biggest thing right now. We have to put everything in space.
Right.
And then horror movies took that and all the sequels. All of a sudden you had Leprechaun in space, Jason in space. It's like, guys, just leave my horror movies alone. You guys can go on with your Star Wars stuff over here.
Well, and like special effects wise, Ghostbusters was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time.
And the funny thing about it is a lot of it was rushed and wasn't really.
Yeah. I was really shocked when I was watching that on that documentary and how everything because originally they filmed it as was it Ghost Stoppers or something like that.
They did so many different names.
Mm-hmm. Ghost Smashers.
Ghost
Smashers. The original name for it.
Yeah,
because they couldn't get the rights because of the animation.
That roundabout way of getting those rights was fantastic too. That was something else.
Yeah.
just so many different things about, like when I watched that documentary too, I was taken aback by a lot of things. It's just another fun aspect to our hobby, because that's what this is for us, is a hobby, but we get to do good things with it.
That's awesome.
That's where we really shine.
We got a couple minutes here, guys.
Sure.
About 5 more minutes here. I want you guys to promote. Do you guys have a website? Do you guys a Facebook page?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're building a website currently. It's one of the things we're working on. And if you search us, it's just Winnebago County Ghostbusters, and you'll find us. We've not done a ton of events lately just because of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
And when we get back into the swing of things, they'll be posted. We'll be able to get out and about and do that. We do, and we have done like drive-by parade birthday party type stuff.
Okay.
Because that's safe distance. And
those have gone over very well too.
And they have gone over. Well, they're fun for us too, because we get to get out of the house. And
So you guys, it's Winnebago.
Yep.
So how far out do you guys go with this?
We service pretty much all of Winnebago County, and then
farthest we've gone so far has been Roscoe.
We've gone Roscoe. Farthest we've gone all the way out to Dubuque and stuff like that. But luckily, like with the Dubuque, they've got the Iowa Ghostbusters. Galena's out that way. And we've gone all the way out to South Shore. We've got the South Shore Ghostbusters out that way. Of course, Chicago has Windy City Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin has their own groups. And we try to, like, if somebody is from out of the area and they go, hey, we would like you to do something. If there is another group that's nearby, we try to, hey, why don't you go with them and see if they can do it. If they can't, we are able to, we'll run around.
Yeah, if we can make it happen, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, people can just contact you through Facebook.
Yep.
And when you look it up on Facebook, is it just Winnebago County Ghostbusters?
Yep. Winnebago County Ghostbusters.
Because I'm sure if you just looked up Ghostbusters, you're gonna get inundated with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Probably just find more than you want.
Yeah, you'll find a ton of different groups. And yeah, we're just Winnebago County Ghostbusters on Facebook. Like I said, we're working on the website. We do have the van. There are lights that we've got for it we can put up. I don't keep them up in the winter just because of weather and things like that. And we're always trying to improve ourselves and our group and just get out there and do what's good.
No, okay. I've seen your guys. You said you had the minivan, done with Ghostbusters, but there's another car like in the general area that's done up with Ghostbusters stuff on it too, isn't it? It was like a Jeep.
No, the Jeep. If it's the one I'm thinking of, there's a Jurassic Park Jeep.
Okay.
There's a Jurassic Park Jeep. We used to have an ATV like a Jeep, and it met an unfortunate end with a deer. So that one's no more.
Because I could have swore it was a Ghostbusters because it had like slime dripping out the front of it.
Yep.
It was a Ford Escape.
Yeah, it was a Ford Escape. And it met an unfortunate end with a deer.
Sorry, I guess I forgot all about that one.
Yeah. Well, and then we've got one member who I believe he is working on kind of a secret project. We've got a motorcycle coming into play.
Oh, wow.
We've got another gentleman. I don't know. He just bought a motorcycle with a sidecar, and I don't know if he's going to bring that to Ghostbusters or not. I know he's working on a 1-to-1 replica slime blower from Ghostbusters 2.
Oh,
that's going to be as accurate to the motion picture as possible.
And it's going to be heavy.
It's going to be heavy.
And it's actually going to shoot out slime.
I doubt that. I wish.
It's going to be all aluminum, so it's going to be heavy.
I've seen one that does bubbles. That's always a fun thing to bring to events.
Oh, that would be cool.
And like a lot of our props, we've got guys who build props. We've got guys, like I bought my prop from a prop company just because I don't have the technical skill. I'm learning. And that's the fun thing, is we're actually learning new things by doing this hobby.
Very much.
Small electronics, lighting, theater even.
Yep.
You know, which is really cool.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you guys being on the show here today.
Thanks for having us.
I could go on all day with Ghostbuster stuff because, like I said, that was my wheelhouse. That's still my #1 movie. Of all
Ghostbusters
time.
and Jurassic Park for me.
So I really appreciate it. And like I said, whenever I see Ghostbuster stuff, it's kind of like one of those things. I'm like, fuck, it's got Ghostbusters on. I'm buying it.
Right. Yeah. And like everything. I mean, it's just going to get better and better with this new movie dropping.
Oh, definitely.
All the new toys.
Look forward to it.
Hopefully, maybe a new cartoon.
I'm hoping that Lego is still holding out on releasing a couple more sets because I want the actual minifigures of all the new characters in the movie.
Sure.
So.
Well, you've seen the new Lego sets that have where you could use your phone and you can see.
Yep.
Think about that with
Hidden Side.
Ghostbusters.
Yep. The VR app
Yeah,
for
that
Hidden
with
Side.
Ghostbusters would be phenomenal.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate it. So if you guys can, go and check out Winnebago County Ghostbusters on Facebook. If you guys are in the Winnebago County area, the Rockford-ish area, make sure to check them out and hire them in for parties, whatever, parades, and whenever we can kick this COVID thing, you guys can catch them at fun comic events, like when we got to hang out with them at the QuadCon here in Rockford. Hopefully we can talk QuadCon to getting back in this area, and I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. We also do at the mall. They have a little comic thing every month,
which is actually going on right now.
That's actually going on right now.
Oh, really?
Great guys there, like Matt Gray, Tavio, and they do like collectible toys. They do comic books. There's baseball memorabilia. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh, wow.
So it's every month.
And that's at Cherry Bell Mall.
Yep. Cherry Bell Mall.
It's right in Center Court by the elevator.
Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
And just a quick side note.
Yep.
We drive to Ecto every day.
Yeah.
So if you're out and about and you see us, definitely feel free to stop, say hi, ask any questions.
Take some pictures.
Whatever.
Oh, very cool. And tag you guys on Facebook or whatnot. Are you guys on Instagram?
Not yet.
All right, you guys gotta get on Instagram because people like to tag everybody on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you guys get that set
You're
up.
more socially savvy.
So get on that, guys. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna take a break here.
Yeah.
We are live here at Wolf Hollow. I'm gonna go and get something to eat real quick, and then when we come back, we'll have Wolf, Kathy, and Sarah back, and then we'll talk more haunted rock here at Wolf Hollow in Rockford, Illinois. So stay tuned, guys.